Hello, epic viewers from around the multiverse. We're free to bask in unprecedented glory because today I'm going to elucidate why work is meaningless and why I would never work a day in my life if I were wealthy. So why would I desist and abstain from working if I were wealthy? And why would I deem work to be meaningless? Well, I don't derive a modicum of agency from working, but that's just me. Perhaps your perspective, perhaps your sentiments are disparate from mine. I detest and disdain the prospect of working. I only work in order to procure wealth. Unfortunately, to my dismay, I'm a destitute, indigent peasant. I can't even afford food. I'm emaciated, I'm anorexic, I'm gaunt, and I'm withering away in perpetuity. So I need to work in order to afford sustenance. It's quite a shame and quite a pity, but it is what it is. I don't derive a modicum of agency from working. I don't derive any meaning from it. I detest and disdain working. It's sheer and utter drudgery. I detest expending my calories. I detest foregoing sleep. I detest having my eating schedule be compromised. Unfortunately, if I don't work, I can't afford food. But if I do work, all I can afford to do is eat. But if I do work, I'm penalized for working. There are 7 types of taxes in the U.S., as you guys already know. I'll just go over them one more time. There's local income tax, state income tax, federal income tax, Social Security tax, Medicare tax, the Obamacare individual mandate penalty, and of course inflation, which decreases the purchasing power of your worthless fiat currency. So you're disincentivized to work or deterred from working. So it's quite unfortunate, but it is what it is. You're penalized for being productive. I only work for the prospect of obtaining wealth. I want to be able to enjoy my life. I want to be able to optimize my happiness. I want to live a jovial, gleeful, happy life, but of course I won't be able to do that because I'm a destitute, indigent peasant that needs to work in order to afford food. But if I were wealthy, I would be indolent, I would be sedentary, I'd be idle, I'd be inactive, I'd be doing whatever is able to draw forth pleasure and was able to draw forth euphoria, to say the least. But I would never do anything that compromises my mental and physical health. But work does. Work interferes with my ability to eat, to sleep, and to relish whatever is remaining of my finite life in this vessel, in this simulation. So, work is meaningless. I dread it. I only work for the prospect of earning money. No other reason. If I were wealthy, I would just completely abstain from working. I would never volunteer, and I would just enjoy the remainder of my life. So, I dread working. The prospect is a bleak, grim, dreary prospect, especially if you're getting paid minimum wage or close to minimum wage, and especially if you're working a job that doesn't provide an iota of fringe benefits. So I'm sorry about being negative and pessimistic, but it is what it is. My salary, my wage is out of my control. The CPMs on YouTube fluctuate. The RPMs on YouTube fluctuate. Most people enable an ad blocker, and whatever an employer is willing to pay me is what I need to concede to if I want to work for them. So it's out of my control. It's too bad that we don't have fruit trees planted everywhere, and it's too bad that everything's now privatized. If everything were privatized, if we lived in a free market economy, products, services would be dirt cheap, but they're exorbitantly priced because we live in a communist country. We have regulations up the wazoo, and we have extortion fees. There's over 29 different taxes for practically everything. So because of interferes in the market by the state, because of price floors, because of regulations, because of taxation, prices are overly inflated, and prices do not reflect the demands of a free market. But we'll never have a free market as long as there's a state. As long as there's a state, there will always be regulations and taxes, and those costs will be passed on to consumers. But if everything were privatized, if everything were based on voluntary transactions, prices would be dirt cheap because corporations wouldn't have to succumb to compliance costs, they wouldn't have to succumb to taxation, they wouldn't have to succumb to regulatory costs, and these savings would be passed on to consumers, and it would reflect the demands of the free market if everything were privatized, but that won't transpire. So it is what it is. I hope that you found this video to be insightful and enthralling. I apologize about digressing a bit, but it is what it is. There's no meaning in working, there's no pleasure in working, and I would never work if I were affluent. I hope that you found this video to be insightful. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Goodbye.